Hi, this is Heather Tunstall with the Garden Life magazine. I'm here with Tom Frazier, living food chef and natural lifestyle coach. We're in Miami, Florida at a private organic farm, and Tom's going to tell us a little bit about the benefits of a raw food, whole food diet. Tom, could you explain a little bit about the diet?
Well, what we're looking at is getting back to the most basic part of nature, where we're going out to the garden and getting the foods as best we can and using as little processing as possible so that we're getting the full benefit of the food in its natural form. And with that, there's just this explosion of great flavors, and the flavors last throughout the whole preparation or entree or meal. So that's the first thing that I really noticed as a longtime food person. And then the other part of it is how much better I felt as I got into this lifestyle. It started out just as food choices, but it became a whole lifestyle, and that's where the real benefits started to show up.
And what advice would you have for people who are considering this type of lifestyle?
One of the best things they could ever choose for themselves. I was really skeptical at first, and everybody most often seems to be skeptical about it because we're brought up a certain way. But when you look at different cultures and all the research that I've ended up doing, there are plenty of cultures around the planet that have shown evidence of a whole food, raw food, plant-based diet, easily living to 100 years old without sickness or disease, well documented. And why not just go ahead and experiment on yourself and see how good it can get?
And what would you say would be the first steps to moving in this direction if somebody chooses to adopt this lifestyle?
Well, I think of one of the renowned heart surgeons in Houston years ago when I was in my conventional lifestyle, and he said, look at the ingredients, and if you can't pronounce it, maybe you shouldn't ought to eat it. And so there's the first bit of advice. If you can't recognize what the name of that ingredient is, then you're in the wrong aisle. So shop the perimeter, go to the fruits and vegetables, find some other people that are doing this. There's enough momentum and movement out there now that you can find plenty of people that will tell you what they've done, the benefits they've had, and how they've kind of moved in that direction. And I've been coaching people for about 15 years now, and they have the stories that I have seen of these people are just absolutely remarkable when they focus on this lifestyle. It's not just about the foods. It's about our food, our lifestyle, our thoughts. So we really want to be careful about all of those categories.
For people looking to adopt this lifestyle, what sort of resources should they look for when they're initially getting started?
Well, they can look to my website, and I will have lists of resources there that they can look at. I do private coaching. I do it in person. I do it online. I do it just regular telephone. Now, if someone needs more personalized attention, then depending on what part of the country they're in, I can redirect them, or how severe their illness might be determines on how deep of the levels they need to go into. And I know resources and people there that can be most helpful with those kind of choices. There's some great retreat centers around the country. There's individual people like myself that just I learned on my own, but it was not a simple education. Mm-hmm. Every lecture that I heard of, I went to. Every conference that I heard of, I went to. Everyone that I could talk to, I asked questions of. So I became a good resource mostly for myself because I ended up being so confused because I'd never heard of these things before. I needed to go looking. And then once I started looking, there was so much information. It was like, why didn't I see all of this before? So really, there's a lot out there you can find just in general. And typically what I will do is help them refine their search, both for themselves individually for the benefits they're looking for, or the kind of place that they're looking for to help themselves.
Tom, thanks so much for sharing your expertise today.
Okay, thanks.
This has been Heather Tunstall with the Garden Life magazine.